Dino Rossi lost the closest governor's race in Washington state history by 133 votes to Christine Gregoire. As Dino Rossi campaigns at this year's Seafair powwow, he talks about possibly making history once again.
Yes, that's true. I will be the first governor in American history that's Native American. Thank you. God bless.
Recently, Washington voters have become more aware of the Republican candidate's Native heritage. Gregoire declared an ad which supports Dino Rossi to be racist against tribal members. The ad knocks Gregoire for her tribal gaming negotiations.
When Christine Gregoire approved a gambling expansion for tribal casinos, she vetoed a deal worth up to $140 million. She could have used.
Gregoire's response to the ad was captured in an interview by the Seattle weekly paper, The Stranger.
They made stuff up about the tribes. And the ad, by the way, I think is racist. I think this whole thing is racist, and I am totally offended by it.
I recently had the chance to sit down with Dino Rossi at his campaign headquarters in Redmond to ask about the ad and explore his Alaska Native heritage.
I think what the ads are saying, it has nothing to do with the Spokane tribes. It has everything to do with her actions. Because I don't know anybody that's criticizing the tribe. They're business people that came in to cut the best deal they could. Why would you fault them for that? You know, it's her actions that they're criticizing. And for her to spin it into something that somehow it's racist, it's just ridiculous.
Do you fully support the sovereignty that tribes have with the U.S. government?
Yeah, you know, supporting the sovereignty of the tribes, obviously most of the dealings with the tribes are going to be federal, you know, from one nation to the other, and that's how this works. But there are pieces where the states connect, and I look forward to having a good relationship, and I've had a good relationship in the past. I don't know why we wouldn't in the future. And are they going to get a blank check just because I'm Alaska Native? No. Nobody gets a blank check, you know.
In his book entitled Dino Rossi, Lessons in Leadership, Business, Politics, and Life, Rossi talks about his family. His mother, Eve Rossi, was half Tlingit, born and raised in southeast Alaska.
So what brought your mom to Washington?
She had a very difficult marriage in Klawock, and she ended up leaving Klawock with those 5 kids and ended up in the Holly Park projects in Seattle. A lot of people told her that she'd never going to get out of those projects. She didn't believe that. She got a job as a waitress at the Green Apple Pie restaurant in Seattle, and she went to Mary Stone Beauty School during the day, and she became a beautician, and she worked really hard, really hard.
In the book you just mentioned about her troubles with alcohol. What do you remember about the difficulties with that?
When I was probably up to about age 6, something like that, I remember crying myself to sleep as a little kid because Mom and Dad would be arguing again because Mom came home drunk. She quit drinking when I was 5, and then she fell off the wagon. And then when I was 7, she went back to Alcoholics Anonymous, and really saved our family. It did. She stayed sober until the day she passed away, when she died of breast cancer. And
curious to how much of the Tlingit culture were you exposed to, or that side of your heritage?
You know, it was always talked about. You know, I didn't live in Alaska like my older siblings had lived in Alaska. You know, really, when the more involved I got in the Native community is when I worked for Bernie Whitebear, United Indians of All Tribes. Bernie kept a lot of us college kids alive. I worked in the dinner theater, the Indian dinner theater that Bernie had. Every part of you is an asset. You know, my Tlingit side's an asset, Italian side, Irish side, Catholic side, every part of it. The history with my mom's alcoholism, that's all an asset. I've learned something from that. And it's not a negative. You can turn that into a positive. And but I'm always a glass half full kind of guy, so that's always worked well in my life.
For Northwest Indian News, I'm Morgan Howard.